Yes, guys, welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. This is FPL Insight. I'm Gianni, the FPL guy, and I'm joined by Football Insider, Mr. Co-host himself, Dean Jones. Dean, how are you?
I'm okay, mate. Yeah. We had a little unexpected break there, didn't we? No Chasing Green Arrows for a couple of shows there, but we're back, guys. Don't worry. That was just an emergency. We just had to clear the floor while more important things were dealt with in the country. But yeah, football's back and we're back, and a really interesting game week because it's quite a tricky one, isn't it?
It is, and we're seeing a lot of managers at a bit of a crossroads this week, and we're here to help you guys. And for the next hour, we're going to be talking about, wildcards. You've seen the thumbnail, but should you be taking 4-point hits this week? Should you be free hitting? Should you be wildcarding? We've got all those answers coming up for you. Dean, without sort of revealing too much, out of those three options, where are you at? Because I think it's pretty obvious I'm on the wildcard. I've spoken about that on social.
Yeah, I obviously played my wild card about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And it served me pretty well. It made sure that I didn't lose the ground that I would have lost if I hadn't have made those changes there and then. Obviously, like once the last game week was gone, you start to regret it a little bit because you're like, oh no, like how's this going to pan out? And then a couple of games get cancelled and they've got key players in them. So I'm able to. I had 2 transfers in the bank, so I've been able to make up a little bit. So it was handy that because I'd done the wild card, I was able to. I hadn't really made any transfers since then, so I had 2 in the bank that have just about got me through. I think we'll have a look in a minute.
Good stuff. Ali asking how I'm feeling, which is very nice of you to say it, Ali. I'm feeling all right. I'm over the worst of it. I have unfortunately, though, given my wife COVID now as well, which isn't brilliant, despite self-isolating all week.
No.
But yeah, good to
might as well have just wandered around.
Good to be back talking to you guys, though. I've not streamed all week. So this is nice.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm glad we're doing a wildcard stream for the first one. Do you know what? Fantasy Football Scout usually do my team review on a Wednesday, and because I was too ill yesterday, they showed my draft, but I wasn't on it, and it was just Az and Sam going to town on it, and I was sat there in bed watching it going, I'm so going to get you two back for this. And I wanted to put in the chat, what's your rank, guys? What's your rank? Because mine's better at the moment.
Yeah.
But I resisted.
Bit your tongue. You bit your tongue.
I did. Guys, loads of you in the chat. Thank you so much for joining. I can see Punter's asking about the slice of pizza I think I had from him in New York, which is very nice of him to say. There's 55 of you. Do give us a like and a subscribe. And likewise, I'm always keen to know where you guys are coming in from. So look, we always play this for a little bit of fun. But if you fancy putting in the chat what country you're in, I'd love to give a couple of shout outs because going to Fest New York last weekend, I couldn't believe how multicultural FPL was. Even when you go to a fest in one country, the amount of South Americans and Central Americans I met in New York that play FPL was absolutely awesome. I was in a 5-a-side team representing Argentina, Ecuador, and Mexico, and then it was me and an English guy. It was so cool.
I love that.
So loving that. We got Canada represented, Northern Ireland from Money Mace, Kev's in Manchester, Ralph's in Boring, England. Oh, Luis Fernando in Brazil. Love that. We are getting South Americans. Got Azerbaijan, Bangladesh, South Africa. Yeah, always blows my mind.
Quality.
Oh, we got Pakistan, India at 1:35 p.m. Yeah, Singapore. Good stuff. Still Scotland. Yeah. Haven't moved. Love that. I've clearly asked that question too many times when Vindy's like, haven't moved, still in Scotland.
I'm still here, mate. Can you just get on with your show?
Vindy's got a question. Who's looking at the 3 premiums? Kane, KDB, Son. Okay. You're just assuming here, Vindy, that on a wild card that I'm going Haaland with one of those 3. Well, I might have a little surprise for you, and we'll show my wild card team in the next 10 minutes, guys. Spoiler alert, I've gone freemium. Of course I've gone freemium. Dean, you're freemium, aren't you? You've got 3 premiums, I think.
Just about. We'll see. That might have changed. That might have changed. We'll have a look.
Okay, yeah, because I remember you wildcarded a couple of weeks back and kept Salah,
I had
bought
Salah,
Kane.
Haaland, Kane, and so I had them, but one of them's gone.
Oh, love that. Few little teases for you. So yeah, guys, give the stream a like and a subscribe. Dean, what's been going on in the world of football the last few days? I've not really been paying too much attention. I've been going to bed so early. I've not even been watching the Champions League games. Only the games that kick off at like 5:45.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, Liverpool showed resilience and they scored a late winner. That was Liverpool are a bit reborn now. So Matip started, Thiago started, Diogo Jota started. It was a bit of a different Liverpool. It wasn't peak Liverpool, but it was a much better Liverpool as they beat Ajax. Man City were pretty poor against Dortmund for most of the game. They can't self-motivate this Man City team. They need a challenge, it seems like, to get going. So they need to go 1-0 behind. Then they had to fight their way back into the game. They get their first goal from Stones, absolute rifle. And then Cancelo and Haaland produced the most ridiculous goal. One of the most ridiculous goals I've ever seen to win it. I mean, your lads, Chelsea, to be honest, not great. Not great. Raheem Sterling, do you see where he played?
Yeah, I did. Although looking at the touch maps or the heat maps,
he was still the furthest player
still
forward,
the highest advance, wasn't he? Yeah, which I love.
He's basically a winger. He's basically just he's going to play as a winger, but it's technically wing back.
Yeah, and you need a Cucurella behind him because if you're going to play Chilwell there, you'd be so exposed. So Cucurella looks like a good option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and obviously the other one from an FPL point of view is Tottenham. Tottenham losing to Sporting 2 goals right at the death that killed them. So we'll talk about Tottenham in a minute because they do play a part of my team this week.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, guys, let's move on to some tips and chips. Otherwise known as team reveals. Dean, we'll start with yours first because you obviously had 2 free transfers, right? Everyone kind of did, right?
Yeah. So exactly. Yeah, because of that extra game week in between, most people would have had 2 transfers. But yeah, so Bernardo's in for me and Perisic is in for me. Now, Bernardo's an interesting one. I could have gone KDB. I could have gone straight from Salah to KDB, and trust me, that's where I was automatically going in my head. The combination play between him and Haaland is now the best in probably world football. They've combined so far only for 3 goals, I think, technically, but like the understanding, the wavelength that they're going on is different class. I was watching that Man City game and I was thinking, but will I bring in KDB or would I bring in Foden? He hasn't started this game. That means Foden's probably going to start the next one. And then Bernardo Silva came. And I was like, hang on, Bernardo Silva's the most informed player from an FPL point of view outside of Haaland for this Man City team. Yeah. I'm going to bring in Bernardo Silva because he's cheap. He's very likely to play against Wolves.
Yeah.
And if he does play, there's a big chance that he's contributing to goals. So I've gone for it. I've gone Bernardo Silva, and it's allowed me. I've still got 4.7 in the bank, and I brought Perisic into basically, I'm just playing that in hope that Tottenham do something. They're playing Leicester. Leicester are rubbish. Leicester have lost 5 games in a row. Brendan Rodgers' job is surely going to be on the line very soon. And Tottenham have a chance to bounce back from that European game against the worst team in the league. And they genuinely are a pretty bad team. Now, they've got that new signing that can come in at centre-back, and they do need him. But, it's a big bow for him if he does start because he's up against Harry Kane. I've gone Kane captain at the moment. I think I'm going to go there. I think I'm going to overlook Haaland.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I think on paper, Kane captain against Leicester, his record's phenomenal. He's at home, Haaland's not. And Leicester, as you say, they're the worst defence in the league in terms of, I think, shots conceded and stuff like that. They start games at 1-1. I think my friend recently said, really good point. They don't start games 0-0, this Leicester team. Mm-hmm. So Spurs are going to score goals. But you're going against Haaland, who's just been phenomenal. But Wolves are no mugs, especially at Molineux. So are you going Kane because you're in love with that fixture and him? Or is it more there isn't another standout option for you and Haaland's away from home and played in the Champions League and all that?
Yeah, I just am a bit... Look, Dortmund did a really good job on locking up Haaland. And And I think that a lot of teams will learn from that. I think it's a study case for everyone, because Sula and Hummels did a really, really good job on him. Now, look, Wolves don't have the same players to be able to do that, but they'll learn a bit from watching that fixture. And Haaland can't score hat-trick after hat-trick after hat-trick all season. Like, this cannot just continue. And it is actually quite a tough game. Like, Wolves aren't that bad. Like, they haven't had good results. They've only just got their first win. But I don't think they're going to just like collapse here and let Man City have it their way. And yeah, Man City need to prove a little bit themselves at the moment. And I just think, Tottenham, so much to prove. They're third in the table, but they're not actually performed that well so far. I know people will be asking about Perisic too. Like, I saw someone say this feels like a Sessegnon game. Maybe, but I mean, Perisic the other day was their best performer, probably. Like, he's one of the only consistent performers in this team. And at a time when that's the case, I think it's too much of a gamble to leave him out. Like, Tottenham have to go and win this game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a time to be rotating and worrying about how much game time Sessegnon's getting. It's a case of we've got to keep up pressure at the top. And the one thing about this game week is the top three teams are all playing. Arsenal, Tottenham and Man City, they do all play. So yeah, I'm just going with a hunch. Like, I don't know for sure that Perisic is going to start that game, but long term, I'm happy to have him in my team anyway.
Yeah, I think Perisic, should start. It's not like Spurs have got another game in 3 days in the Champions League. We're about to go on an international break, so sure,
Exactly.
he'll be called up for Croatia, I'm sure. But they can manage his minutes if they feel they need to. I'm with you. I think we'll see my wildcard shortly, but Perisic is in one of my 2 drafts. I'm still a bit on the fence of him moving forward, but for that Leicester fixture, I'm fairly confident. And the amount Perisic has the ability to go forward and potentially score, knowing he's playing the weakest defence in the league, like, this could be the week Perisic goes big. We've still not really, I think we've seen a 12-pointer. Nothing bigger yet, but he's got that in his locker.
Yeah.
Dean, I wanted to ask you about your goalkeepers, because you obviously don't. So Everson could, at some point, surely Ward's going to get dropped and Everson's less than number 1. But is it worth taking a 4-point hit? Let's assume Everson's benched. Your 4-point hit, you only need your goalkeeper to get, appearance points, a save point, and he's got 3 points. So and you've got so much money in the bank, you can have anyone. You could swap Sanchez to Pope, for example.
Well, Pope was the one I was considering. Run. Yeah, exactly that. So even before, obviously, I made the Bernardo the transfer first, and then I had one left over, and the automatic thing for me was to go change my goalkeeper. But my other player was Lisandro Martinez. That's the one I've ditched for Perisic.
Of course. Yeah.
And Lisandro, I just brought him in basically because he's started well. Man United look a bit more steady and he was cheap. But I was looking at it and I was like, well, he's not playing this week. His next game's against Man City. He's not getting in my team for the next 2 game weeks. Yeah. And I've got a potential here to bring in someone for this game week that, if he does start, has a high points potential. And compared to picking a goalkeeper, I would have picked Pope, but I've already got Trippier. So I'm counting on them getting a clean sheet massively if that's the case. I don't know. Like, Pope's really good, and Newcastle, in their home matches, they've kept 2 clean sheets out of 3, and the other game was Man City, so you can't really count it. It's a temptation. I don't know if I'll do it now for a -4, I must admit. I'd rather play without a goalkeeper, I think.
Yeah, no, fair enough. In terms of your other positions where these players are becoming, for those that are on a wild card, everyone has sold Gabriel Jesus. Like, he's done well this season. Arsenal still have been playing really well, even though they lost to United. They look the stronger team in the second half. The fixtures aren't brilliant, but Brentford's okay. I'm worried about selling Jesus. I've sold him on my wild card. Most feel like they're probably having to, because you want Haaland, you might want Kane, Tony and Mitrovic on everyone's list. Jesus, is he someone you'll keep long term? Because you don't have Mitrovic.
No. And that's just because he's a Fulham player. Like, I don't want to curse this. Like, it's going well. I'm just keeping him out of my team. If he keeps scoring, great. Well done, everybody else. But Arsenal have got tricky fixtures: Brentford, Tottenham, Liverpool. Then after that, it's Leeds and Southampton and Nottingham Forest. So it's like, I feel like with Jesus, I'm just going to let it ride. He's still going to end this season as one of the top scorers in the league. I'm sure he will go through a couple of dry patches, but I'm just going to have to tough him out and wait for the goals to come back again. It's Brentford at the weekend. I expect Arsenal to score. I think it's a reasonably tough game. It wouldn't surprise me if it ended up being a draw. But when I say draw, maybe a 2-2 or something like that. I'm surprised that I've seen as many people jumping off of him as I have. Yeah, it feels a bit trendy to me, and I'm not sure I'm on board with it.
Yeah, I'm really nervous about it. We've got a question about Foden. Good question, Louise. Foden's someone I've looked at in Wildcard. He's not in either of my 2 drafts. Dean was looking for a Man City midfielder. Could have gone Foden or Bernardo. Predicting Pep's impossible.
Yeah.
Just because they were rested in midweek doesn't mean they're going to start the weekend. However, Foden and Bernardo, both favourites of Pep. They play 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Last night did show me, though, that in a big game, off the back of what they just had a rest, that now Grealish is fit, despite him playing poorly. Foden isn't absolutely nailed every week.
No, he likes Grealish a lot. And I think that the plan is that Grealish is the starter. He didn't do that much in that game last night.
No, it's poor again.
You know, and I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking, I wonder if Foden and Bernardo Silva start. Like Man City, because they really lacked urgency in that game, right? And I feel like Pep, I think he kept him in. Straight after the game, he called all the Man City players straight into the dressing room, even before they were done their interviews. A couple of them were waiting to do interviews, and he pulled them inside the dressing room so he could get his message across before they were then allowed back out. He clearly had a message for them, and judging from what he said in his presser, he just needed them to know that like it's unacceptable the way that they are playing too slowly at times and the way they're taking too long to get going. And it might be that because of that, he does make changes to that front line because that's where the urgency comes from. Like first and foremost, very rare that Bernardo Silva or Phil Foden let you down. Very rare. And Mahrez and Grealish are both a bit flaky. So tough decision.
Yeah. Good way of putting it. PSV, Kane captain and Foden, right? Or KDB and Isak with Isak. So I keep saying Isak with Haaland captain. Isak's getting a huge amount of love. I would say over 50% of well-known content creators that are wildcarding, over 50% of them have Isak in their team. Probably more like 75%. He's not even been a consideration for me. Most are picking Isak over Tony. I'd go Tony all day long. And I would question that third forward spot and go, I'd rather squeeze Kane in than go for Isak. What's your take on Isak rather than answering this question direct? Because I think that will help answer it. He scored 6 La Liga goals last year. Sure, the Newcastle fixtures are amazing, but it's not that he's a bad pick. It's that there are so many options up front. Is he a stand? Should he be one of 3?
I mean, it definitely is the fixtures, I think, that are luring people in. I mean, he did really well, obviously, against Liverpool. I think St. Maximin is out for this weekend.
It's not looking great for him, is it?
So that takes away a creative edge to Newcastle's team. He's going to start, so there's that. I don't think it's a terrible choice. I mean, I think over the course of those 3 games, you would obviously be expecting him to score a couple. But judging on what we've seen already this season, it would make more sense to go Mitro or Tony. They're settled in the league. They know the system. They know exactly what they're getting. Isak's still finding his feet a little bit. And I think it's really difficult to judge a player like Isak, who's so new to the league, so new to playing at this level, of how many goals he's going to score. So it's a bit of a risk for me. I'd probably go the Kane and Foden there.
Yeah. It's a really tough one for me. I like KDB and Haaland captain, like that's in my wild card, but I don't like the Isak part of that. Okay, cool, guys. Let's move on. I'm going to show you 2 drafts. Dean knows this because he's had the screen grabs, and I only send you guys very few of the screen grabs. So I've been tinkering all week. I think I hit the button on Tuesday. The original plan was I wanted 3 premiums. I wanted Son to feature. I watched Spurs play because it's the early kickoff on the Tuesday, I think it was, and they were dreadful. And I thought, if I'm going to go for a Spurs player, it's got to be a banker. So Kane is in there with Haaland and De Bruyne. It's a 3-premium look. The second draft we'll see later is also 3-premium. This one has 0 in the bank. It allows me Perisic and Reece James on the bench. So I've got a good squad here. Every week I'll be benching Emerson, Andreas, and then probably Bailey or Gordon, one of those guys. There's really good value for money in the likes of Bailey, who I'm disappointed I had in game week 1 because he didn't start all those games and he lost lots of value. Well, now he is starting. He started the last couple, and I think Watkins is probably injured. He's 4.7, so he's even better value. He's now less likely to drop and more likely to rise. And Villa have nice fixtures. So I think he's good fodder. Gordon as well. I don't love the Gordon pick, but I just need a cheap guy because if you're going freemium, you need to have your 5.5-ish players. My concern with this draft is when I want Salah back in 2 weeks' time or in a month's time, how do I easily get him? Salah is 12.9.
Yeah.
So like Dean's sold Salah, but he's got loads of money in the bank and you'll have a contingency to get him. This draft doesn't give me many places to go. I can't just go De Bruyne to Salah straight swap. So I could go De Bruyne to Salah, but then I've got to go Gordon to Colback or someone rubbish, you know?
Yeah, absolutely that. Yeah, it's a dilemma, and I think there's a lot of people that be in exactly this situation. I mean, Leon Bailey looks much more tempting now than he did for me at the start of the season, even though he was in good form pre-season. There's a couple of good outings recently. He's got a point to prove after his agent came out, his stepdad saying, that he should be playing in his proper position and blah, blah, blah. And to be fair, since he said that, he has actually reacted well and he is actually performing to high standard. Massive game for Aston Villa. I think Dean Smith was sacked the last time.
Oh, right, really?
They changed. He was attacked on an international break. Yeah, so that this was the exact. And I was looking at the quotes from Perslow and saying, that this is a key time. Like we looked at it, international break coming up, time to make a change. So, I don't think Gerrard will get sacked right now. It's definitely not unsackable. But look, if they lost to Southampton in this fixture, say they lost 2 or 3-0, there's a massive decision to make about how this team is going forward because they've gone backwards a little bit rather than progressed. But Leon Bailey could turn that around. So there's definitely motivation there for Aston Villa. And I can understand too, the De Bruyne Haaland thing, that is, as I say, it's the best connection in football. It used to be Son and Kane and it's not anymore. It's De Bruyne Haaland. And if that takes off, it's going to be the must-have combo of the season.
Yeah, it really is. I looked at, again, the average position map of De Bruyne in midweek, and him and Haaland, you would look at it and go, oh, it's 2 up top. You wouldn't think Haaland was midfielder. He's literally playing on the shoulder of Haaland in a 2. He's so far advanced, and we didn't always get that with KDB. And from an FPL perspective, it's always been quite frustrating at times because you see him go far up the pitch, then you go, and you bring him in, and the next game he's playing like a quarterback. Well, since Haaland's been in the team, it's been a front 2. And I think we're going to... Last time De Bruyne played at Molineux was the end of last season. He got 4 goals as well. Yeah. There's also that to consider. So, that's where I'm at. CH, I'll answer your question in 5 minutes when I show my other draft, because that's literally what I've done to save money for Perisic. But we had a question, I think, about City and Arsenal players, and it's a great shout. What do you do with your City and Arsenal players in game week 12? So this is the thinking when I look at my team. I know come game week 12, De Bruyne will become Salah, so that's not a concern. But I will have Cancelo, Haaland, and Martinelli without a fixture. So that's fine. I don't want to sell any of those 3 players unless they're really out of form or injured or whatever. Cancelo, Martinelli, Haaland I see as long-term. De Bruyne I see as 3-4 weeks. So I bench those 3. It does mean the other of my 11 players has to play. So when looking at my team, I'm looking ahead going, who do they play in game week 12? Well, Fulham, I've got 2 Fulham. They play Aston Villa. That's fine. So I'm happy with Andreas. Emerson, however, plays Liverpool, whilst Nico Williams plays Brighton. Now, I don't have Nico Williams in this team, but I could easily swap Nico Williams and Emerson around just with that game week 12 in mind. Now, they'll probably be on the bench the whole time. And in game week 12, do I want to play Emerson versus Liverpool? Not really. Or could I play Nico versus Brighton? So this draft with Nico Williams might be a tad stronger. The likes of Gordon has Newcastle, Bailey, Fulham. It's okay. So I think I'm all right for that City and Arsenal, that game week 12. For those of you that aren't wildcarding, there's a good chance you've probably got double Arsenal and triple City. Just don't think about that yet, but you're probably going to have to start winning these players out game week 10 or 11.
Yeah, I need to start doing that at some point too. But we'll figure that out after the international break. I'll have a long think about it then. John, best 8 million mid on a wild card. There hasn't been many good 8 millions, have there? Bowen and Madders tempting, but feel Saka outscores them despite the tough fixtures. I mean, is there an outstanding 8 million player in the game and like in midfield? It's not, is there?
We went into the season thinking there were so many options at 8. We was like, which 8 million midfielder do you pick? Do you go for 2 or 3 of them? Luis Diaz has done all right at times. Kulusevski started well. But at the moment, like
maybe Mount after this week.
Yeah, but we don't know where he's going to play. Well, we don't know how advanced he's going to be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, Maddison has unbelievable fixtures after the Spurs game, and Leicester are a team that at least score goals. I'm seeing a lot of wildcard drafts with Bowen because West Ham have unbelievable fixtures too. But I don't like the fact West Ham play Thursday nights and then the weekend. I don't like West Ham attack in terms of trusting it. I trust Leicester attack over West Ham attack. Saka doesn't feel like a bad shout, to be fair, but the fixtures are tough. So, John, part of the reason why I've gone threemium, is my twomium draft was Tony instead of Kane. And that left me with loads of money in the bank, right? And I was like, oh, this is great. I can have loads of 8 million midfielders. I didn't want any of the 8 million mids. So it came down to a straight swap between Kane or Tony, and Kane edged it, only just, I might add. I think Tony's a really good asset. But that's why I swerved away from the Tumian pick. Was I don't love any of the midfielders you've mentioned.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair enough. You got my boy Mitro. You'll be okay there in that team if you were to go with it. Oh, you got him in this one as well. Mitro.
Here we go.
Both.
Very few changes in these two teams, other than there's money in the bank. So I've gone. Perisic has gone out, and Nico Williams has come in for Perisic. So that obviously saves me a considerable amount of money. And you'll also notice on the bench I've got Almiron in there. So instead of I had a budget midfielder, I think it's Almiron comes in. So it's Almiron would probably come into the 11 instead of Gordon. That's why he's in there for that Bournemouth fixture, I guess. But this money in the bank allows me to go KDB to Salah in a few weeks' time. So I'm just planning on keeping enough funds in the bank to always be able to get to Salah in one move, because I just know it's inevitable. I'll want it back at some point.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that was one of the noticeable things about Liverpool this week was Salah was better with Jota than he was with anybody else so far this season. And, it was Jota that teed him up for his goal. It was a big confidence boost for Salah to get a goal. I think he'd been 4 games without one before that. So that is an interesting change. And I do wonder if Jota becomes the staple starter for Liverpool once we come out of the international break, because it definitely made a difference. And once that clicks, it's only going to take Salah to have one good game straight on the back of the international break, and bang, we'll all want to get back on him because we'll be so scared of what we're missing.
So true, yeah. And I look at Liverpool and think their ownership for their players is so high that we shouldn't be scared by ownership, and it shouldn't dictate everything. But on those weeks when Salah does go get a hat-trick, and it will happen at some point, if you're not part of that party, it's going to really, really hurt you. At the moment, it doesn't feel like too much of concern, because Liverpool look like a fairly low-ceiling team for them. I know they beat Bournemouth 9-0, but outside of that fixture, they haven't looked super impressive. But at some point, that will change. When the fixtures turn, things will definitely turn. Guys, there's 260 of you watching. That's so good to see on a Thursday night. I know we don't usually do Thursdays, little bit ad hoc because of the Friday deadline. You can usually catch us, if you're new around here, on Mondays and Fridays at 7. That's our time slots moving forward. If you're new though, do give us a subscribe, and please do like the channel as well. We've got 67 likes in so far. Please do hit that like button to improve that. And we're answering your questions too. Good to see so many newbies joining the chat. We got Neil in. Hello, Paul and Mark and Ian. Good to see Andres and Chip and Colm. Ian's asked about double Newcastle on the wild card at the back. That's what I've gone for. Ian doesn't like it. He likes trips, but who would be your keeper? So on a wild card, Dean, standout keepers. I mean, it's slim pickings. I like 4.5 million. Guaita has good fixtures, and I do quite like Palace. But obviously, there's no fixture this week.
No. I mean, I think you've got the right place. I mean, I would go to Pope too. Like I was saying before, it was if I was going to change my goalkeeper, that was the place I was going to. I mean, he's been really good. So I'm like, well, they're keeping clean sheets. But even if, they're conceding shots, he's saving a lot of them. there was one game in particular. Was it Wolves? I think they drew 0-0. Might have been Wolves. Anyway, there was one game in particular where Pope literally earned Newcastle the point. Like, he was brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, I think it was game week 6 against Palace. He got 12 FPL points.
Was it? Yeah.
He made tons of saves.
Yeah, exactly. He's really, really good. He's been a really good signing for them. Obviously there's a risk there, because if Newcastle concede a goal, then you're not getting much out of those. But it's Bournemouth. Like, Bournemouth aren't that good. Honestly, like, you look at the league table, Bournemouth are like mid-table or something. I mean, that is not a reflection for me on what I've seen of them. And I think Newcastle will be looking at that and thinking, we win this game 2-0. That's my prediction for that game. If you say, how's that end up? I say Newcastle win it 2-0. And based on that, I think that Pope's a good choice.
Yeah, I think I do as well. Fabianski is 5 million. And Haley says, am I mad putting Fabianski in goal? Probably not, Haley. You're probably not mad at all. The fixtures aren't bad. And I said to Dean, I don't like too many West Ham attackers. The West Ham backline is one I trust way more than the front line. And Fabianski isn't a bad shout, I guess, at 5. I don't know how close Areola is to getting a chance at number 1. I don't know if Fabianski needs a bad game or if he needs 5 bad games. I don't know quite the stance there with Areola. Do you, Dean?
No, I'm just trying to look. West Ham playing tonight, aren't they? So I'm just trying to look to see. Oh, they haven't started. It's an 8 o'clock their game, but I'm presuming Areola's in goal tonight. So West Ham play actually straight after this in the Europa Conference, and Areola is in goal. I mean, that is kind of the plan. Like, Areola's basically the cup goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So that's generally how they're viewing it for now. But Areola's brilliant. Like, I'm surprised he settled for that. He could have joined Fulham and been number 1 all season, but there you go. He chose West Ham. He wanted to play down the other end of the table. That's up to him. But yeah, look, West Ham. The interesting thing too with West Ham is I think Aguerd is on his way back. I don't think it's going to be too long. Obviously, He was a big signing for them in the summer. He did an interview, I think, before this game, which made some people think, like, is he back? But he's not starting tonight. And I can't see his name on the bench, so doesn't seem like he's ready quite yet. But West Ham are going to get stronger. Like, they've had a bad start to the season, but they're going to get stronger. Jared Bowen on the bench tonight, by the way. So no injury worries there at the moment.
So, Dean, looking at my 2 wildcard drafts, what do you reckon we go with? Do we go the team with the million in the bank to be able to get Salah easily, but then it comes down to Perisic pretty much. Do you go Perisic,
doesn't it?
Or do you keep a bit of money for Salah? I mean, I could go Perisic and just sell Perisic in a few weeks to get the Salah money, which is what I think I probably should do. Guys in the chat, let me know what you think. Like, should it be the first team we saw or the second team? I'm thinking the first team, and then just get the Perisic money back out.
It's really tough. Like, the thing is with Salah, like you say, you want to get back to him. Like, well, Liverpool's first game back is Brighton at home. Like, that's a good fixture to have Salah for.
Yeah.
The next ones are Arsenal, Man City.
It would be for the Man City game.
Man City home. So
I'd swap De Bruyne for Salah for the Man City game.
I was going to say, would you do it
that.
for then? Yeah. So you'd rather have Salah than De Bruyne for Liverpool v Man City.
Or I'd keep De Bruyne, but then De Bruyne doesn't have a fixture the week after. So I'm definitely selling De Bruyne come game week 12. That's absolutely happening. Even if he scores a hat-trick every game, I think I'd sell him game week 12 because he doesn't have a game and Salah does have a game.
Yeah,
but so you're right. It might not take place till game week 12, and that's
like,
it.
So I think you've got till game week 10 anyway to make that decision, and then you basically need to decide who you want on 11. If you want Salah or De Bruyne for that game, whoever's in the best form, whoever's most likely to win that game at that point, and then you can flip it around and then. So you might as well sit on it until then.
Yeah, I mean, Punter's saying keep Perisic, Lewis saying first team Gianni, Haley saying keep Perisic. Yeah, I think so. And look, there's a couple of predictors online. There's a good one for Spurs, isn't there, Paul? Although I did notice he got 1 or 2 wrong the other day.
Did he?
He did, and I was like, oh, if he tweets saying Perisic is going to start, I guess I'll go there. But there is that slight concern. Sessegnon gets a nod, but I think Perisic is good.
I saw a couple of Spurs fans suggesting, I can't remember where I saw this, that why not play Perisic on the right and play Sessegnon on the left?
Conte said that today, that he can play on both sides.
Why not? I mean, Emerson Royale is no good. Conte hasn't seen enough yet to be convinced that Jed Spence is ready to play that role. And because he was reasonably cheap, he doesn't feel under pressure to play him.
Yeah.
And Doherty is not fitting in.
Yeah.
So if it's not Emerson Royale, and if Tottenham are underperforming, why not play Perisic on the right and start with Szczesny on the left?
Mr. Two-footed himself. He takes corners with both feet in the same game. He can definitely play on the right.
100%. And what a scary factor too for someone like, which foot's he going to cross? Is he going to come inside here and whip it with his left, or is he just going to keep going and get it over with his right? Like, it's such an unbelievable tool to have for any attacker. And Perisic is probably one of those lethal with both feet.
Yeah. Just play your best two fullbacks, which surely isn't Emerson Royale in there. But let's talk Brighton. CH, good question here. What do we think under new? They've been so good this season, Dean. Like, is this all down to the manager? I mean, probably. Manager leaves, system changes, players drop a level, or system potentially stays the same for a while and the players just keep playing for the new guy. But what's going to happen with Brighton? I mean, so many are invested on their assets as well. A lot bought Gross, a lot of Sanchez in goal, some went McAllister.
Yeah, I mean, from a Brighton point of view, his departure came at a good time because they obviously didn't have a game last week. They haven't got a game this week. Then it's 2 week international breaks. They basically had a month window to figure out what on earth they were going to do to react to a moment they really didn't see coming right now. They knew they weren't going to hold on to him forever, but they didn't think they were going to lose him now. But you look at Liverpool, look at Brighton's fixtures coming out of the break, and then it's Liverpool and Tottenham straight away. That's tough, and you've got to imagine that's going to be the new manager's first 2 games. Yeah. Liverpool away, Tottenham at home. Not easy at all. So to be honest, I would be inclined to get off Brighton for a bit now because we literally don't know what we're going to be getting, and just come back onto them at another point in time because there are probably going to be assets out there that are a bit more trustworthy.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. Guys, we are going to be getting to your questions very, very soon. Do get your questions in. I can see in the chat. Questions about Visser at Brentford. Ooh, don't go there. Massive rotation risk. There's you just go Tony or Mbemo if you want attacking assets at Brentford.
Johnny, Trent, keep or sell on a wild card. I'd say Trent was an interesting one in that Dortmund game. I mean, he was probably at fault, to be honest, for the Dortmund. Sorry to say Dortmund. I mean Ajax. Sorry. So Liverpool played Ajax, not Dortment. Yeah.
I didn't watch it. I don't know. Was he poor again? Was he poor again?
So well, defensively, yes, Trent was poor. He was caught out on the goal. But going forward, he nearly scored twice. He nearly scored. He could have had 2 goals. So this is the thing with Trent, and this is the game you're going to be playing all season. Liverpool are not as good at the back as they were. They're conceding goals like every time, every game, basically. Liverpool are conceding goals. You've now got to expect that Liverpool are not conceding clean sheets. The only difference there will be Matip is back now. So once Matip is fully back in his stride, gets that partnership back with Van Dijk, Tsimikas played. He did actually quite well. They definitely looked a bit stronger. I'll be tempted to keep him, to be honest. I mean,
I've got rid. A lot
of people getting
so much money. It comes down to me. Is it a point of, Trent's going to get some points, because sure he will, or is it you can do so much more with that 2.5 million and buy a 5 million Trippier, for example?
You could, yeah. Like I say, it is Brighton straight back after the break with a new manager at home,
and then it's Arsenal City.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a tough one. It is a tough
call, and I can see why a lot of people jumped off. I'm glad I was already off him.
Yeah, you're above the curve there, way ahead of the curve. I remember you selling Trent on your wild card or just after it.
And he actually did all right that week. Might have been the Bournemouth game, to be honest. It might have been a bad time to do it.
Well, I remember saying to you, that's the one guy, Dean, in my team that's him and Salah are the 2 absolute set and forgets all season. And I've just sold Salah and I've just sold Trent.
Well, we didn't think that Liverpool trend was going to carry on much, did we? But they've scared us all.
Kane and Maddison, Son and Isak. Easy one, Kane and Maddison for me. I can't justify Son. I don't know. I
can't believe people are touching him.
I don't know if he'll even start now, Dean. Do you reckon? Richarlison's probably going to start. He's been their best sort of attacker.
This guy has not been in doubt. He hasn't been in doubt for 3 or 4 years, Son's place. They've bought Richarlison, and it's unsettled the balance of this team, and it seems to have rattled Son a bit. And it's probably because of his positioning and the type of attacking football and the lineups that Tottenham now have.
Yeah,
Son's natural role isn't quite the same as it was. His importance to the team isn't quite what it was. I wouldn't be touching Son at the moment. You need to wait for him to get back on track with goals before he can convince me that he's worth getting.
I watched that game on Tuesday night, and when I saw Son subbed off before Richarlison, I just thought, wow, this is showing me pecking order here right now. Just couldn't even consider it. I went into that fixture going, if Son scores, he might be in my wildcard team, because he is one of those players, when he gets confident, he does score a goal.
He's a streaky player. He's a very streaky player. Yeah.
Yeah. Foden, I don't mind the Foden shout. I don't mind it. I do think going triple City at this time in the season when they're firing, I know they've been going down, but they've still been scoring goals and winning games. But with the fixtures they've got, Wolves, United, Southampton, I feel like triple City is absolutely on, and it's Cancelo, Haaland, and then one other. So I don't mind Foden in for Trossard or Rashford. I'd be selling Rashford, I think, though, because they don't have the fixture, and then
he's
after
injured
that,
as well.
And he's injured, yeah.
Yeah, we don't know how long Rashford's out for yet. He's obviously got a muscle complaint that's kept him at the England squad, and he's got 3 weeks to recover basically, and then we'll have to assess it. But
and then it's Man City. He's not going to score against City, is he?
I'd probably get rid of Rashford. Yeah.
Khaled, thoughts on Arsenal defence? The Arsenal defence is I had Zinchenko and I've sold him on my wild card. I'm all about the fixtures, and as good as Arsenal's defence can be, I think Brentford score against them. I think Tottenham score against them. I think Liverpool score against them, and then it's Leeds possibly score against them.
They do really miss Thomas Partey when he's not there. Like his ability to just anchor and protect. Sometimes you don't realise quite how important it was, and then he's not there, like he wasn't there at Old Trafford, and suddenly they're exposed. Yeah, they're exposed.
Tiffany's got full 11. No bench, 1 free transfer. Get Cancelo in for Trent. Yeah, and then move playing Jesus to Isak for a fun hit. I don't think I'd be selling Jesus for a hit. I like the Cancelo to Trent. You get a starter. But you don't need Jesus to Isak because for a starter, that would just be a fun hit because you love the Bournemouth fixture. I prefer Jesus to Isak.
If that's the kind of fun you like having, then go for it. But I mean, Jesus against Brentford. I'm not sure, as I say before, I'm not sure why so many people.
Brentford defence isn't great anymore because since they've gone from a back 5 to a back 4, they're way better going forward. Tony looks amazing. But they are conceding goals, Brentford.
Yeah, look, Fulham, I saw score 3 against them. And, I thought Brentford, they did scare me. Whenever they were in possession and moving forward, they scared me. But every time we had the ball, I fancied we were going to score. So, Arsenal are better than Fulham. So they'll definitely have that same feeling.
Yeah, I don't mind Jesus this week at all. In fact,
captain, come on, Luke. This is brave. The thing I don't like about this is it's the Friday night.
Is it?
That's what, and it's not even on TV. Like Nottingham Forest Fulham is a Friday night game that's not on TV.
Villa Southampton's on TV instead.
Villa Southampton's on TV. I don't know anything about. Apparently, there's cricket on in Nottingham on Saturday or something, and so Nottingham Forest Fulham isn't on Saturday. Someone else will have to confirm that. As I say, I don't know anything about cricket, but so that kind of kills the vibe for me. I mean, because if he doesn't do well, then your weekend's dead already. You can't even watch it. Well, you might be able to find somewhere to watch it, but technically you're not watching it. It's a tough one. I mean, I do think he'll score. I think Fulham will win 2-1, but if he doesn't, it's like the old 12:30 on a Saturday thing. I try to avoid it where I can when I'm making big decisions.
Guys, good to see so many of you watching. If you're new around here, Mondays, Fridays at 7. Today we're doing things a bit differently because the deadline's tomorrow. You get it. But yeah, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and look, you'll notice like we've shown our team reveals. We've shown my wildcard team. We'll show it before the end of the show if we can. In fact, yeah, let's do that. So in 10 minutes' time, we'll just circle back, as the Americans say, to show my wild card. But for now, you guys are dictating the agenda, right? We're answering your questions, so get them in. We're going to do alternate questions. So I'll start with the Barnes question. I don't hate it, but find the extra cash and go Maddison. I wouldn't go near Leicester usually, but the fixtures are good and they are a team that can score goals. So whilst I hate their defence, I don't mind their attack.
Interesting. Right, never give up. Sterling and Bernardo, or KDB and Bailey. There's no Sterling's not playing, is he? So I would steer clear of Sterling this weekend. I think Sterling's going to be one to have for the season, but if it's for this weekend you're specifically looking at here, then KDB and Bailey.
FPL Spartans has updated us. It's the Royal London Cup 50 over final at Trent Bridge on Saturday. Lancashire versus Kent.
How are they putting that ahead of Nottingham Forest v Fulham? Absolute clowns.
Dragon
Thanks for the update, though. I genuinely didn't have any idea what it was.
Good man, Spartan. Thoughts on Tripp, Son and Kane? Okay. For Trent, Salah and Jesus for a 1 week punt. I don't mind selling Trent and Salah. Do not be selling Jesus for hits this week would be my top tip.
So many people still tempted by Son. Like, what other player would still have you tempted to get on them after 7 bad weeks? Like,
and his start is far from guaranteed now as well.
It's amazing, isn't it? Like, you can tell what a good season he had last year and how well he did for people, right?
Yeah,
Carlos
taking loyal.
taking a punt on Paqueta. Comments. Go for it. He's a fun player. Like, he's not many people in this game are going to know about him, that much about him. Not many people are going to be picking him. I'm presuming if you're picking Paqueta, you've seen what he's capable of before. And if you do have him in your mind as somebody that can make things happen, then just take a chance on him. Like, he'll come good.
Yeah, 6.0. I've seen him in a few drafts.
Yeah, I think it's worth it.
FPL Big Ed. I've not heard of you before, FPL Big Ed. Good to meet. -8 or wildcard. If you're at the point where you're -8ing, hit the wildcard button because you've got to use it before game week 16. A -4 or wildcard, I'd even be tempted to wildcard. That's where I was at. It depends how good the rest of your team is. If you think your team's really good and it's just a 4 is all you need, then take the 4-point hit. But if you're not happy and there's a few other improvements you can make, which is where I was at, hit the wildcard button. I don't hate it at all. You've got to use it, guys, at some point.
Yeah, take out Dean and start Perisic. Yeah, I mean, look, we've admitted that we don't know 100% that Perisic is starting yet. It's only Thursday, so I haven't been able to check out any team news, and they obviously have played in Champions League. But Dean, I mean, I wouldn't have him near your team, and Perisic is somebody you're going to want all season. So, yeah, stick Perisic in for the start.
We've got a question about KDB. Yes, you should absolutely still get KDB if you think you'll captain Haaland every week, because the beauty of having both is when Haaland scores, there's a very good chance it's KDB that gets the assist. So having the double up shouldn't deter you. If anything, it should attract you, right? There is no differential owning Haaland anymore, right? There's no differential captaining Haaland. Like, literally the world and his dog will own him. Most will captain him. The differential becomes when you make combinations in FPL, and KDB plus Haaland and the armband on Haaland, those 3 things might be 10% of the game, right? Versus the 80% of the game that own Haaland. So it can become differential when you make combinations. So KDB and Haaland, for me, as Dean said earlier, it could become the best combo in world football. So yeah. I don't mind it at all. I'm on KDB. It'll only be for a few weeks, though. We'll show my wildcard team, the first one, in 5 minutes' time, guys, before the end of the show.
Yep. Right, Steve Sedman. Hello, mate. Right, take a -4 for Walker out or field 10 this week.
Walker is injured, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, it depends, really. I mean, you've got to assess, like, how many be realistic about what your points output is, because the average this week is not going to be high. People will be taking hits before it starts and they won't pay off. Some people will be wildcarding, and, you know, even if they do have a good week, the chances are they might not have the staying power because we've got an international break. There'll be injuries. You'll come out of that. The fixtures will look very different all of a sudden. Honestly, I think it's a week when you can afford to field 10. I'm fielding 10. I know it's a goalkeeper that's missing, but equally, like, if you've got a strong enough base around them and you think you can get towards 50 points, I think you can probably go for it.
Stuff. Okay, we've got time for another question or two before we show my team. I think we'll do Markle's question and then actually we'll show my team after this. So
Okay.
Markle asks about Kepa, and this is a fair question. He's 4.4, Dean. I know Mendy's been injured, but Mendy's been so poor. We know Potter wants his goalkeepers that can play football. You know, he got rid of Dean. Was it not? Is it Dean? No, Matt Ryan.
Yeah, Matt Ryan. Yeah,
because he couldn't kick.
Mhm.
Look, Mendy and Kepa, I don't think either are brilliant with their feet. But is Kepa better? Maybe. Does he have a chance?
Clean slate for everyone, isn't it? So I mean, Kepa obviously
World's most
started.
expensive goalkeeper.
Hey,
World's most expensive. He must be the best.
should have been. Maybe. I mean, it's definitely something that Potter's got to make a decision over. He'll have coaches that will advise him on this, and I'm sure they'll be working hard to get it right. But this is a really good opportunity for Kepa, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if in the early weeks it's a bit of a battle to win the shirt. So, yeah, obviously Kepa's got it for now. He's just drawn 1-1 with RB Salzburg. We'll have to see. International break coming, then we'll have to assess it.
Guys, we're going to give you 30 seconds here. I want to see how many likes we can get in the next 30 seconds. If we hit the threshold, this magic threshold that I've got in my head, will show my wildcard team. If not, genuinely, we're done. We're off. We're not showing it. You'll have to rewind, whatever. So, look, if you fancy seeing my wildcard team, hit that like button and we will reveal all in 20 seconds. But we need to see that number jumping. So, come on, 134, 137. Where are we at?
Even I'm getting on this. Here we go. Let's give it a like.
Good effort, team. Oh, I just unliked it by mistake. There we go. We can get there. Yeah, CH. You know the game, right? You know the game. Genuinely, guys, it's been lovely chatting to you tonight. So good to see 430 of you watching. Remember, Mondays, Fridays, 7 p.m. You're liking, you're subscribing. I think we would love to get to 200, but I have faith that when we're showing my wildcard team, that will continue ticking up. So at 166. So I think you've done well enough to show it. Happy with that. So here we go. This is
what we're going for, is it?
Well, no, this is one with 1 million in the bank. So I think this is the version we're probably going to forget about. So let's show the one with Perisic in the 11. Because you made a good point earlier, Dean. Like the chat agreed with you. The Perisic draft is better.
Yeah, it is a better team. Look, worst case, Perisic doesn't start. He'll probably come on still, and if not, Emerson's playing. He still gets something. Like he's playing Everton. Like it's not the worst fixture in the world for a sub to come in for. I think it's good.
I could play Andreas Pereira instead of Gordon, but I've already got Mitro. So do I want two Fulham?
I mean, it's a bit of a gamble, isn't it? I mean, they are two Fulham Forest. I mean, it's a championship fixture from last season. Forest actually beat us last season, so. I probably wouldn't go there. I wouldn't have two Fulhams, but I think it's fine. I personally think Perisic is going to play, so I go for it. Like this is people keep forgetting this is a really big game for Tottenham. They just lost a game. They're third in the league. They got an opportunity to keep pace with Man City. They're both on the same amount of points right now. They're keeping up with the champions. Why risk losing that, especially at a time when it's an international break? Like Conte doesn't have to worry about if he's tired during the international break. Let him be tired. That's not your problem for the next 2 weeks. Play Perisic. I think he'll be there. Gordon's probably, like as Frode says, Gordon's your most left field. He's literally left field in your lineup, but it's probably a bit unexpected for people.
So my question on Gordon, and I do have one question about this draft, and you saw this guy in the other draft. He was third sub, so you probably didn't notice him, but I could swap Gordon for Almiron. Now, I know that sounds bonkers. Almiron, like what? Okay, Almiron is starting games for Newcastle. He'll almost certainly start because St. Max is injured. But even with St. Max playing, he's been starting. He's started every Premier League game this season so far. He's 5.0, so he's cheaper than Gordon. Now, sure, he's not known for his goals and assists, but he's getting in attacking areas, and they play Bournemouth, Fulham, Brentford. The 3 fixtures Almiron has are way better than Gordon. Guys in the chat, let me know the best Gordon replacement, or let me know if you think we should go Almiron. So put a word in the chat, Almiron or Gordon. Want to know? I'm not going to be considering Da Silva, who is a doesn't start. Højbjerg, who is a DM. Aribo, no tar. If you give me a better option, I'll consider them, but so far I haven't seen one.
I didn't think this is the debate we'd be having to round off the show, but here we are.
Sean Longstaff, he's 4.4, but he's too deep. Almiron's way more advanced. What would you go, Dean? Almiron or Gordon?
Probably Gordon, to be honest.
Reluctantly, you're like, no.
Yeah, I mean,
I've
the
got
thing is,
Bailey.
Gordon he's just not sexy. It's just not sexy, is it? But like last season, Gordon was really good, and like Everton will be looking at this as a winnable fixture. They're at home. They've got to take the game. So Gordon's really good, right?
Yep.
He is good. And like he's priced very well actually in this game. Like this is a guy that Chelsea were going to buy for, what was it? 60, 70, maybe 80 million pounds in the end.
Yeah.
And you can get him for 5.5 here against West Ham at home, even if you just have him for this week. I think I would go Gordon over Almiron. Stick with your gut instinct, mate. If this is what you felt, then stick with it. Even if you were a bit ill this week, I think this is. I don't think you were so ill that you've got this totally wrong.
The other option is I go Colback, who's 4.3, the cheapest midfielder in the game. Sure, he won't start. And then I just bank the money and play Andreas Pereira and have Colback rot on my bench. And then I've got money in the bank to keep Perisic and still bring in Salah.
Can you imagine the banter that he gets in training for being the cheapest player in FPL?
Can't be nice.
That's cruel. That's cruel. They should not make anyone go as the lowest player.
Yeah, scraping the barrel.
Too harsh.
Good stuff, guys.
Pick
Thank
Colback,
you so
for
much. Good to have so many in the chat. I think most of the chat are with you. I'm slightly saying Gordon as well. But we will be back next Monday at 7. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button before you leave. Set your notifications on. We do these streams Mondays and Fridays. We're going to get loads of insight next week with our regular features like FPL Visa, our team news. We're going to have 11s from Dean next Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Loads to look forward to.
Yeah.
Anyway, for now, Dean, thank you. He's been Dean. I've been Dean. I've been Gianni. It's been a long night. And we've been chasing green arrows.